Okay, rulers, settle down. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get pre-orders of all the upcoming Force of Will sets, as well as releases of previous sets after they come out, as well as FowlLibrary.com, a wonderful resource for deck lists, article discussions, and more. Check them out at FowlLibrary.com, as well as these amazing patrons. Special thanks to guest lecturer member Vite Ramen. Thank you for your support. Class is in session. Hey the rulers, DMO73 here. I am on vacation this week, but I still wanted to bring you this little kind of featurette example of a deck that we've talked about on the channel several times. Before we get into that though, just a reminder that Game of Gods pre-orders are still available right now with Odyssey Games, so check them out in the link in the description to make sure you get that in before it runs out, and before set release, obviously. So, we're showing off this deck on the right. This is the Life Loss Loop Fieth deck. We've talked about it kind of in passing and kind of in description, but I wanted to show you guys application of it. This version of it is a cluster-only version that was sent to us through the Ruler School Discord. Pretty fun, kind of looking at certainly more of a puzzle because we don't have access to dual stones and everything else, and certainly a lot more susceptible to very aggressive decks. But Robert was willing to at least sit down across from me to let me show you how this deck kind of functions. So we'll go ahead and show it off. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of kind of pieces that you need to be able to pull this off, unlike the old kind of Prisia chaining into never end, We're not really trying to do that with Fieth, where instead we're trying to set up a loop where we just in one turn take you to 0 life, regardless of what your life total is, through the purpose of life loss. So it's a lot of sculpting the hand, finding the combo pieces, and then finding the moment to kind of just pull off the combo. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll kind of talk to you about it as we go through. So during our mulligans here, seeing we already have quite a few of the pieces in our hand already, which feels great. And a lot of the deck, if not the combo piece, is things to enable the combo piece, recognizing that since we don't have access to Ellis Rorson's cluster, we don't have things like Magnus Guardian Beast or anything else like that, which can make the deck a little bit trickier to pull off. But we do have the Energize, which is great. So first turn, we're going to see Robert's going to go down with an Altising Secret Hideout here. We're totally fine with that. Our deck has no spot removal, so we didn't really care. I mean, outside of, I think, a single copy of Lumia in the deck, but we're not really too worried about it. We're more into things like cancels, right, with like Last Lecture and stuff like that. First turn, Magic Stone of Knowledge. And then just going to throw down a pass. Now, Robert is not playing cluster format, so he gets to use dual zones right now. But we're okay with that. We're going to throw down a tiny robot. Gets to get him at second token generation. It's also a nice little way to kind of remember, if it's fun, lay some of the older cards from Atlas Origins as we get ready to rotate it out here later this month. Move to recovery. Calling Stone with the Mooj Dart. Normally you'd probably call Stone with Feasting with this deck so that you can have more filter off of the Mooj Dart, but because of kind of what our hand is already, we don't need to do too much filtering, so we're just going to leave up Feasting so we have better will to be able to play that Melfi in our hand. We start to move to discard, but then I remember, oh wait, my maximum hand size is 8 because I'm Mooj Dart, so that's just going to be fine. Normally the thing to do as the Feasting deck is to just make sure that your opponent can't kill you, because aggressive decks can certainly hurt you there. So it's a lot of things like finding the biggest threat and doing Welser, number 13s, that kind of stuff. Chump blockers with Melfi. Gonna see a pitched Maribella to go get his type 0. We're going to swing in 2, and we say, you know what, that's fine, we'll take it. 38, 30 special, it's all good. Draw for turn. Move to recovery. Call stone once again with Mooj start. Hitting that Bradstone, or sorry, not the Bradstone, the Welser Knowledge Stone. We don't really have a way to recover our stones here, so that could just be a basic green or a future later date. You know, we just didn't hit 6 sage stones here. But we can start kind of going off because now we have access to multicolors off of the Knowledge Stones. So first going to be Alvarez, the True Demon Castle. Gets us 2 tokens, but applies that -2 to the board. So we get to clear off his 2 little zombie tokens. We're also going to do a selective decapitation here. This is kind of the second piece, which really enables things. So those are the 2 kind of primary additions that need to hit the field for this deck to operate. Selective decapitation is so that we can recycle the pieces that aren't Melfi, and then True Demon Castle is what allows us to recycle the Melfi. So we just gotta, knowing this matchup, particularly being green-blue machines, we're not too worried about these additions being popped, which is why we're trying to take advantage of the kind of opening will right now, so that we don't have to worry about casting them later. Also, being able to have all of his machine tokens just die on enter is very nice. Down comes the Maribel, which we're gonna go ahead and say, you can, if you wanna tap out, that's fine, but we're gonna go ahead and do last lecture here. We're gonna recover the Mooj start. Chooses to pass the turn there. So draw for turn. Doing a filter off of the Mooj start here to sculpt. I think we see the transformed in that hand there, which puts us into an even better spot. Calling stone with Fieth Sing. Get another Bradstone. Then going to go ahead, and since we don't have to worry about the we don't have to worry about the 6 sage stone, we're just going to go ahead and tap Mooj start here. And here's where we get to kind of start going a little bit off. I think at this point, we feel comfortable with trying to at least play through what might be the answers, and if he doesn't have it, we get to kind of go off. So we're going to cast Priscia's Big Show here and filter, just to kind of control things a little bit. It doesn't super matter because of kind of what we're going to be doing first, but we're casting it, kind of cycling through. Casting it a 3rd time. So we're up to 3. This gives us access to Lycion because we've cast 3 spells per turn. And then we're going to go ahead and use the Priscia to hardcast to get the Resonator side, which will get us the final linchpin that we need for this deck, which is the kind of pinnacle of the new loop, Rezard, Adoraktia's leading doctor. So what this does is anytime a Resonator would go from my side of the field to the graveyard, it goes back to my hand. It like triggers in the grave and comes back to my hand, which with Lycion, we get to do some pretty silly things. So we can play Lycion to cast a Melfi. Melfi is a 2/2, so she'll be a 0/0, which means that she'll die immediately upon hitting the field because of Alvarez, but then she'll go back to hand because of Rezard, and then she produces her 2 will. So it gets draw a card, I'll produce double green, and then recast her with the same green. So kind of this is the point where things are kind of going off. So at this point in time, we produced blue-black because we have all the pieces we need. Oh no, double green one more time, I guess. Oh no, I think double green one more time, and then off of that one, I believe we use blue-black. That's gonna put Dolly, which will let us put the Lycion back in our hand, and then the black will cast the Transformed. So the Transformed makes him discard a card and lose 4 life. Now remember, I still have that Lycion in my hand, and I've definitely cast enough cards this turn, so I can just recast it. And this is where the loop comes in. So the way the loop works is because we have all of the pieces. If they shoot Rezard at all, we lose here, but ultimately it doesn't look like we have anything on Robert's side of the field to be able to stop it. So Transform's going to make him lose 4 life. He goes down to 36, forcing him to discard a card. Robert says, yeah, I don't have anything to stop it. For the sake of the video, we're going to walk through it here. Lycion gets cast for free, which then we can use Selective Decapitation to banish both Transformed and Dolly, which will then go back to my hand because of Rezard. So I get to scry 2, draw 2. I'm ultimately just going to let that sit. Then we can use the Lycion to replay the Melfi, who will then die and then come back to hand, which produces this blue-black, which we can use to replay the Dolly, and replay the Lycion, and replay the Transformed, and then that loops and loops and loops until it can be stopped, or until your opponent is dead, and it's 400 life and a card every single time. So that is the practical application and kind of walking through what the Life Loss loop is. It is significantly more complicated and significantly easier to disrupt. I mean, if they pop Rezard at all, you pretty much are out of luck, and you're, like you see here, I'm literally only having enough will to perform the loop. I don't really have any way to respond to it. But we wanted to show it to you all, and figured this week when I'm on vacation is a good way to show it off. So thanks to Robert for being willing to be kind of the victim here, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Until next week, this is DMO73 saying, class dismissed.